I've seen Fantastic Beasts with my ex-girlfriend. Philosopher's Stone.
I think I'd put Sorcerer's Stone either acceptable or poor. I'm not certain though.
Really?
I'm gonna go.
Actually, no.
I'm gonna go acceptable.
Yeah, I reckon I'm gonna go acceptable as well. It's got a solid enough plot, and it's a good first movie. It sets like the good foundations and whatnot, but it does have a few problems, which aren't exactly its fault. The child acting, the CGI is also really bad, which again, probably not its fault, but still kind of pulls it down.
Yeah,
I was too cool as a kid to be into Harry Potter.
Get fucked, Tate.
Even at my age now, I still don't notice it that much because I just, immerse myself in it because it's entertaining and it's cool. But yeah,
cool.
I put it in exceeds expectations. I mean, it was based on really, really popular books. They had to make a good impression, and they obviously did. Everyone liked it, and it kept the series going, so that's why I put it there.
Though to go along with the child acting, I bought the Blu-rays and they've got a lot of behind-the-scenes interviews and the stuff Christopher Columbus did to help the child actors out. Like, he was pretty much their acting coaches because they'd never done acting before. Some of them had done school musicals. He started using multiple cameras on set, filmed all the angles at the same time because once they got the take, they had to use that take.
Chamber of the Secret.
I went and opened the Chamber of Secrets in my bathroom earlier today. It was dreadful.
Wait. You're putting it in dreadful?
Yes.
What? What? Excuse me?
Honestly, I really did not enjoy that movie. It was just something about it just ruined its ability. I think it's just the plot. The whole plot of the Chamber of Secrets was just so boring and unentertaining that it's just a pain to sit through.
I'll put it right behind acceptable. The only bad bit I can think of is right at the end where it's like, there's no Hogwarts without you, Hagrid.
And then everyone cheers.
No! It was a heartfelt moment with Hagrid. It was not cringe. I put it in exceeds expectations, above Sorcerer's Stone. I like the atmosphere, Something about it's really mysterious. It's creepier than the first one.
Yeah, see, that's what I hated, that feeling.
Mystery.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love the most about it. And it's a solid enough mystery. It unravels at a good pace and it comes to a really good climax at the end.
It's not of Azkaban.
This one is
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yes!
Yes.
top shit, my favourite movie, straight to the top. Outstanding.
Outstanding.
I exceeded expectations, not outstanding.
Can we ban Aid, please?
Prisoner of Azkaban was really useful to the plot before and after that movie, and I think it was quite entertaining. But the start where it was sort of slow before is, like the wolf and getting on the bus and all that sort of thing, before that it was a bit slow. It was kind of a waste of time for me. If it wasn't for that, I would have put outstanding.
I have nothing to complain about with this one. It just does everything right.
It just gives you this feeling, You just look down and you're like, oh my god, is there a stick in my pants? It's just the best.
You basically said that, but less erotically for the Chamber of Secrets. It's just a feeling, Al. It's a feeling.
It's creepy. It's got twists like the Sirius Black twist and the Peter Pettigrew being the rat.
Sirius Black was so well written. He starts off as just this evil killer, though in the books he's in the first one as a one-off mention. Then we find out that he betrayed Harry's parents to Voldemort. Then we found out that he was James's best mate. And then we find out that he was his best mate and Peter Pettigrew was the killer all along. And also Alfonso Cuarón is just a masterful director.
Also manages to do a really good job at being relevant to the wider plot at large without even having Voldemort in it.
That's what I liked about it.
Alfonso Cuarón came up with the heads on the night bus and J.K. Rowling's like, that is actually really cool. I wish I thought of that.
There's still many instances in this movie where the acting is bad.
There are some spots where the acting falls out, but as a whole, it's much stronger than the previous two.
It's good, but because most of it's good, when it is bad, you notice it more. Like when Harry finds out about Sirius betraying his parents and he goes out to the snow and he's doing that, he's crying. And he's like, and it's funny.
Next movie.
Gobbler.
Gobbling these nuts.
I'm gonna go dreadful.
I'm gonna go exceeds expectations. I like this one.
I'm going outstanding.
I'll give it acceptable for one reason, and that reason is that it kickstarts the plot whereby Voldemort comes back, and they did quite good cinematography and CGI in that little battle that they had when they were in the graveyard. The rest of the movie was pretty shit.
I do recognize if you're a huge book fan, I can see why you would hate this one with a fiery passion. But as someone who watched the movies 5 years before I even thought about reading the books, that's why it sort of still stands so high for me.
I reckon Goblet of Fire is the movie that really starts to make you realise how disturbing and dark the world actually is.
It's got that feeling of impending doom sort of thing. It's like shit's happening now.
Go on what Abe said about Prisoner of Azkaban really adding to the movies that came before and after. That's the opposite for me of Goblet of Fire. The director, Mike Newell, hadn't watched any of the other movies. Alfonso Cuarón from Prisoner of Azkaban had to convince him to watch at least the first 20 minutes of Prisoner of Azkaban. He was going to do it a lot more like Prisoner of Azkaban, to be a lot darker and grimy. But because that's what Prisoner did, he's like, well, I need to beat Alfonso and make a more light-hearted comedy film.
Next movie, Order of the Phoenix. I don't know where to put this one.
I'm going outstanding right below Prisoner.
So I'm going to go exceeds expectations.
I'm slapping it bottom of exceeds expectations. The fact that it's a lot darker and it's a lot more depressing, it makes sense it's more depressing. You know, there's a big evil man out there that wants to take over the world and he has no nose. Big scary. Even though I think it makes sense and I'm glad that it does go for the darker tone, I still just enjoy it less for the darker tone. I don't like being depressed when watching a movie.
Yeah, I remember Daniel Radcliffe once said that all his best scenes were done with Gary Oldman, who plays Sirius Black.
No.
That one scene where he's telling Harry that he's not a bad person, that was just so good.
Yeah, when Harry starts to scream and the sound just cuts out.
Half-Blood Prince. I'm going dreadful. I don't like this one.
Honestly, I'd probably give it high exceeds expectations.
Every time I see a movie do this, I just instantly hate it. To make sure that you're absolutely certain that you realise it's tonally dark, they make it physically dark. I can't see what's happening.
This movie takes it to really disturbing territory because you see Draco, who's been this kid, same year as Harry, except he's just a bit of a bully, but then going into this level where he's joining the Death Eaters and being trained to be a murderer, and it's like, it's being turned so freaky, and because of that, I actually don't mind it. So I put it at acceptable.
Yeah, I put it as poor. It's better than Goblet of Fire for me, and that's probably purely because it's my favourite book. The opening scene is like so sick. The worst scene for me would be the scene where the burrow burns down. It wasn't in the books, and it adds nothing to the movies.
Well, in the next movie, it's back standing, isn't it?
Exactly, it doesn't add anything. It's just a stupid, pointless scene that wasn't in the books. Harry and Ginny are just cringe.
Shoelace.
They left out a lot of the Tom Riddle memories, which were really good.
Deathly Hallows Part 1.
I'm doing exceeds expectations. It was a good one. People reckon it's shit because it's all set up and no payoff, but it's actually a really good fucking movie. I don't know what everyone's going on about. Everyone's like, oh, they just walk around everywhere. No, they do stuff and it's a good movie.
Well, I'm topping acceptable. I'm not a huge fan of this one because it's all set up and they just walk around camping everywhere.
Shut up, John.
I moved Sorcerer's Stones from exceeds to acceptable because I'm starting to think about the movies more. But I put Deathly Hallows Part 1 in poor. It's not a movie that you can just watch. Like if you're like, I'm going to watch a Harry Potter movie, let's put on Deathly Hallows Part 1. No one does that.
Deathly Hallows Part 2.
I'm actually going to do an alteration here. I'm putting Deathly Hallows Part 2 top exceeds expectations and I'm moving Goblet of Fire up to outstanding. Deathly Hallows Part 2, it's just like, it does a really good job paying off everything that the series has been doing up until this point. The pacing is really good, even though the first one's pacing had to suffer quite a lot. It's just an exemplary conclusion.
Deathly Hallows Part 2 to low to middle, outstanding. It's the climax, there's all-out war, there's great cinematography. That final battle with Voldemort is awesome. But I've also moved the Half-Blood Prince up to outstanding. It was a high exceeds expectations, but I've just moved it up to an outstanding. Now just sort of thinking about the rest of them.
The Battle of Hogwarts was really good. The cinematography, all the spells, is like, you could see what's going on. but it still felt like really intense. Like a lot of times in like just other movies when they do action scenes to make it intense, they just do heaps of shaky cam. Like I can't actually see what's going on, but here they got that intense feeling, but I could also see exactly what's going on.
I put it in high, exceeds expectations, above the Chamber of Secrets. It's all the things that you've wanted to see in the previous movies into one, and it just pays off well.
Well, that's it.
No, we got Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, shit. Yeah, they were both dreadful. Anyway, that's the end of the video. If you like, subscribe. Bye.